I, 32F, snooped on my husband's, 33M, phone and found out he is bi. We have been married for 5 years. My husband has different message tones for all his closest friends. Over the last weeks he has been texting a female friend. I think she got a text from her through the day and it was way above normal that I noticed it. He has also been very protective of his phone. He always used to leave it unlocked, would lend it to me if I wanted to do a quick search, but he has been with his phone. He never locks his phone and he always takes it with him wherever he goes. He had told me that at the start of their friendship, 12 years ago, he had feelings for her, but it was fleeting and they have a really strong friendship. I was feeling jealous and betrayed. I have been cheated on before and I still am a bit insecure about this. 2 days ago, he had left his phone unlocked. I opened his messenger and his last message was, "I am good at hiding it. I should have just left the phone at the table and minded my own business, but that text confirmed all my fears and I couldn't stop myself from opening it to read. I regret it." He wanted to come out but was scared. He was scared of my reaction. He was scared that I would not find him attractive anymore and that we would have to get a divorce. He thought it was not worth coming out. I came to my senses and I kept his phone back on the table. My head is spinning a little. What do I do now? Should I tell him that I know and that it is okay? I feel terrible for hiding things from him. I want to apologize to him for snooping on his phone. I also feel a bit sad that he was more comfortable trusting her than trusting me, which is not very mature on my part. Would it be better if I tell him? I want to do what would make him happy, but I can't just ask him that. TL, doctor, I thought my husband was cheating. He was not. He is bi and wanted to stay in the closet, but now I know and I am freaking out how to deal with this. As a bi person, I want to echo the other commenters saying to wait and let him come out to you. See if you can find ways to show your acceptance of LGBTQ people at random times, like during a TV show with queer characters. Try not to be too obvious about it. When I was deathly afraid to come out to family or friends, it helped me immensely to hear them randomly show their acceptance of LGBTQ people. I think you should tell him what you saw. If it doesn't change how you feel about him, I'd tell him that too. Personally, I wouldn't see him talking to his friend first as a problem because he was scared and has so much more to lose if you reacted poorly than if his friend did. I'd be hurt he decided to hide it because it would feel like he didn't think I would still love him, and I would hate for my partner to have to carry that weight around. But again, I can kind of understand. Biphobia and bi-erasure are problems, especially for men. Even in the comments here someone is suggesting asking if he's only married to you because you are a good beard to hide him actually being gay. If he's from a conservative background, he's probably got messages like that his entire life, and it's made it take longer for him to understand his sexuality. When you do tell him, I wouldn't force a conversation if he's not ready. Hey, I sensed something was off and was feeling insecure about our relationship, so I looked at your phone. I saw what you said about being bisexual and scared to tell me. I wanted you to know that it doesn't change how I feel about you or our marriage. I'm a bit hurt you felt like you couldn't talk to me about it, but I understand how scared you must have been about losing this relationship, because that same type of fear is what made me look at your messages. You don't have to talk to me about it now, but I want you to know that if and when you do feel ready to tell me about it, I will be ready to listen. I love you, or something like that would probably help both of you feel much better. It seems that most people are saying you should tell him, but I'm in the other camp. He needs to come out and share this information on his own timeline. Forcing him before he is ready can be really damaging. You can help him by having conversations or dropping hints that aren't specifically about him that indicate you are okay with this development in your relationship. But let him broach the subject when he is ready. The only partially concerning thing here is that he felt he could confide in his friend before you, but that doesn't seem too worrisome to me. I would probably confide in a friend before telling my partner something like this if I knew there could be negative outcomes from this discussion. She is being his sounding board while he works it out, and it might hurt that he didn't come to you, but he also has a lot more to risk by discussing this with you. At some point you guys will need to talk about it, and you will need to reassure and remind him that you are his wife and should be the person he talks to first. But considering the specific nature of this, it doesn't seem unreasonable that he would seek out an outside voice. Telling him you snooped forces the conversation to occur, which he might not be ready to have. If it were me, I would be more angry about that than the fact that you snooped in the first place. Just something to consider. Best of luck. As a bi woman who's in a relationship with a bi man, I advise that you wait. If you tell him you know, then you're forcing him to come out, and that's fudged up. If you love him, you will wait for him to come out to you. Please don't take it personally, everyone's coming out is for different reasons. He probably needed someone to give him an extra "you'll be okay, you got this" encouragement before making the plunge. I'm sure you've discussed things with friends about what to say or do, and he has done the same. But please, I am begging you, let him come to you. My boyfriend, 22M, lost his temper while driving me home, 22F, and drove so recklessly I had a panic attack. Too long didn't read. Boyfriend and I got in a stupid argument on the way back to my house and he got really angry. After getting cut off, he lost his temper and sped up, blasting through an four-way stop and a red light. I was so scared I had a panic attack. He feels terrible and wants to make it right, he said. Should I leave? Edit/update, I left this comment but some haven't seen it. Wanted to put in actual post. I text him that it was over and left. He said he respects my decision and is ashamed of what he did. Said he'd be getting into some counseling and work through everything and wished me well. Thanks guys. In my gut, I knew what the right decision was but needed help/validation that I should do it. Doesn't make it easier though. Original post. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years and in that time he's only raised his voice at me once. Usually he's a really sweet guy, which makes this so much more shocking. He grew up in an abusive home and I knew that he struggled with anger as a teen, but until now he's never hurt me. We were at the end of a 3-hour drive and both of us were hungover and really tired. We were just talking and got onto the issue of fat acceptance/the word fat. I'm 5 feet 4 inches and 188 pounds but going to the gym 4 days a week and have already lost 25 pounds. He was saying that calling someone fat shouldn't be taken poorly and is just a descriptor. I disagreed and told him about a time I was called fat and how it really hurt me. He said that I wasn't actually fat but I was indeed chubby, but he didn't mind it and liked it. It was stupid and I don't remember the rest, but I got really hurt and started crying. This irritated him and he said he hates talking about my weight because I'm so insecure and always end up crying, and nothing he says about my body makes me happy. He then said he was done and taking my ass home. He then sped up and we spent a few minutes in total silence with me crying. Just before we got to my house, a car cut him off at the roundabout. Everything happened so fast. But he said something along the lines of "fuck this, I'm done," turned away from my house and accelerated really fast. He ran through an intersection with a red light and a 4-way stop, and past multiple cars on a double yellow. I felt so out of control and scared. I started sobbing and was begging him to take me home, apologizing, and telling him he was scaring me. At that point I was having a full-blown panic attack and thought we were going to crash and die. He calmed down and drove me home and dropped me off and said he was really sorry and didn't know what came over him. He came inside and tried comforting me and fixed a few things around the house as an apology. We talked and I said I thought he was going to kill us driving like that. He said he got so angry he just snapped and honestly forgot I was in the car. I asked him to leave after a few hours. He texted me today saying he was sorry and feels bad and misses me. I've left him on read. I'm feeling so lost and don't know what to do. My friend said that this incident was abuse and I should immediately leave. But on the other hand, I've never had this problem with him and honestly thought he was the one. But now I'm scared of my own boyfriend, which just feels so wrong. I'm leaning towards leaving him, but that would make me so heartbroken. I don't like giving up on relationships and want to work this through with him, but at the same time I don't know if I could feel safe with him again. He wants to make it right, but I'm not sure I should give him that chance. Update, I text him that it was over and left. He said he respects my decision and is ashamed of what he did. Said he'd be getting into some counseling and work through everything and wished me well. Thanks guys. In my gut, I knew what the right decision was but needed help/validation that I should do it. Doesn't make it easier though. Don't fall for him getting help. Let him heal with someone else. I flat out do not believe for a second that he forgot you were in the car. He might have stopped caring that you were in the car, but he certainly didn't forget. This is one of those situations that women who have never been abused always hold up as a hypothetical deal breaker. If he ever makes me afraid for my safety, I'm gone. You're finding out now how hard it is to stick to that. These guys always have a good reason for behaving like this, always a sob story, always a promise that it'll never happen again, always a I don't know what got into me, I just lost control. How do you think you should react to this? What would you tell a friend to do, if she came to you with this story? He wants to make it right. How? Is he going to buy you an ice cream? A cute dinner? What bunch of flowers? What gift? What demonstration of love is enough to make you forget that he trapped you in the vehicle and drove aggressively to terrorize you? Do you really want a diamond necklace that says I'm really sorry I got angry and made you think I was about to kill us both? Some things can't be undone. It doesn't matter how much your boyfriend wants to make this right. He can't. He drove violently to scare you. He made you think you were about to die. You could have died, or been permanently maimed, or been in a car accident that killed someone else, or even multiple people. Your boyfriend was frustrated, so he decided to terrorize you, someone he loves, and everyone else who was on the road with him. He has serious anger issues he needs to tackle lest he kills someone next time he gets annoyed. But he's permanently destroyed any trust you'll ever have in him, and no amount of regrets or apologies or I'm sorry for terrorizing you gifts can make it right. I'm so sorry for what happened. I know you'd be heartbroken if you left him now, but please consider how much worse you'd feel if you stayed. I'm an abuse survivor and this is how it starts. I was with my ex-boyfriend for a few months until he started being abusive, and all I could think about was how I was to blame for triggering him to become mad, which caused him to abuse me. Didn't want to leave him. I preferred to believe in this fantasy that he and I would be together forever, but I did not consider my own happiness in that scenario. What happened is that after the first incident, my ex realized I accepted his abuse. Of course I complained, but I stayed with him too, and after that he started abusing me more and more. He'd push my limits with each new incident and I stayed every time. Now, after almost a year of abuse, I've left him, but I feel terrible. I've been traumatized and I hate myself. I don't know how to move on or be normal anymore. Please consider the consequences if you stay. I didn't and I regret it. I wish you the best. Don't get in a car with him again. You're not overreacting. Roommate, F29, is fostering a dog that's reactive around people. I'm living in a condo with two girls. One of my roommates decided to get a foster dog without asking how anyone would feel about it. I found out she was fostering maybe 2 days before the dog arrived in the home. While it would have been nice to be asked, I was actually excited because I'm an animal lover. The dog is a pit bull with 8 years of extensive trauma and neglect. The shelter said that she's unsafe around other dogs, but great with people. Well, it turns out she can behave aggressively towards people as well. One night, I came downstairs for a glass of water, and the dog cornered me against the wall and was aggressively barking at me. This went on for maybe 10 minutes, even when my roommate tried to distract her with a treat. I'm scared to think about what would have happened if my roommate hadn't been home. The dog has also cornered our other roommate against the wall on a couple of occasions. I haven't felt safe around the dog at all since this happened, even though I was comfortable with the situation before. The dog also barks in a threatening and territorial way when other people come to the house, and apparently growls at people on walks. We've had several guests describe her as scary. There are times where I feel unsafe leaving the room because I can hear the dog getting really reactive downstairs. When this happens, I wait a couple hours for my roommate to take her for a walk before leaving my room. My roommate has no experience fostering or training dogs. She isn't following the behavior plan that the shelter gave her. She is supposed to set strict boundaries with the dog, and instead treats her like a baby. A couple of adoptive families have been interested in her, and she finds a flaw with them every time. I think she's doing it as an excuse to keep the dog with her longer. I was hoping that the situation would resolve itself when the dog got rehomed, but it has been 5 months and there seems to be no end in sight. She has been mostly respectful about keeping the dog on a leash, in the backyard, or in her crate, but has made some passive-aggressive comments towards me, saying that cooping a dog in the room is no way to rehabilitate a dog, that the dog has a trauma history and can't help it, and so on. I really resent these comments because it implies that I'm not being compassionate. I actually think she's the uncompassionate one for bringing an animal into our home that makes most people feel unsafe and uncomfortable. Moving out isn't an option for the time being. What are other things I can do? Too long didn't read. Roommate's dog is reactive against people. I'm over it.